for just one thing. And you can go out and they lead their life and they do everything they're supposed to do, and that one call comes. And that's all they were created for their whole life. And sometimes we're so tired that we miss that call. And we're just so caught up in trying to get everything right and get everything perfect that that day you were rushing to the salon trying to get to your appointment because you had something to do, and there was a little kid that was in front of you, and in your knower, you knew something was wrong, but you didn't have time because you was late for your appointment. And I like to think sometimes that Lena Howard, and that was the woman who took me in when I was on the streets of New York, that she saw in my eyes that I wasn't going to make it another night through the winter because I was sick. And had she been too tired to hear God and say, you can come stay with us. Because she was a single mother of 4. And she let me in the door and she said, you can stay here as long as you abide by the rules. And I said, I can do that. Because I didn't have anywhere to go. But they didn't know that. Because again, we can make it look so good on the outside. But she heard God. And so when you're rushing off and sometimes you're so busy trying to look significant, but your life is really insignificant because you're not doing the one thing that God called you here to do. Because we're always looking for the huge but spectacular. And so, you know, I can't get you out your seats. I don't want you to jump because I want you to get this. Because when you walk out this door and the music's not playing and you don't have anybody around to hug you, you have to be able to say small but spectacular. You know, because sometimes we don't feel that we've done as much as everyone else. Well, how'd she get the house? How'd she get the car? I know they promoted her again because you're looking at the huge and spectacular, but that's not where God abides. And so, as we sit here and we try to figure out what we're going to do this week and how we're going to do it, I want you to do like you do with your vacation. Plan for it. You don't go on vacation without your credit cards and your cash. You don't go without the right outfit. Well, plan for where God is going to take you. And don't be so tired that when you get there, you can't do the job He's called you to do. You know? So it's not the big things that I want you to focus on today, but I want you to ask yourself, what does it take to make me feel significant? And I can guarantee you it's not what God thinks. Because God may want you to go back and that relative who's on drugs, who you said you was going to help at first, and then he or she let you down 2 or 3 times, so you wash your hands of it. And that's what God meant for you to say. He said, I ain't get tired with you. And you messing up. So how you gonna wash your hands of somebody I think you were saved? You know, or even our own children now. I'm a youth advocate. That's what I do. I go out and I try and restore and save children because someone restored and saved me. But I see women so tired now that the children dropping out of school, they going off to work and leaving them laying on the couch. Because they're tired of yelling, they don't scream for the last time, and they just don't have enough energy to put into that. Well, that's what God called you to do. That's what God called you to do. What you send out your door is a representation of you. And sometimes they're just so tired. We're trying to do everything but the small and spectacular. Because we're trying to get there to get the huge, and that's not, again, where God resides. Well, you may find that your husband, who started out making you feel as though you could conquer the world, well, now he's tired. And you don't get that same energy or feeling from him. And you walk around and you don't notice the smile or the little things that he does because you're too tired. You just can't see it. And you have to ask yourself, is this the right man for me? And he is, because God put him with you, but you're too tired to recognize it. You think cutting the lawn or moving something for you, opening a jar is not anything, because you're looking for the huge and spectacular. And so when you do something, when you come into church and you come to a women's conference, take the time. Take a deep breath, a cleansing breath. Matter of fact, take a deep breath, cleanse right now, and as you let go, think of all the things that you're thinking about and just let it out. And free your mind. Because if you can't hear God, then you'll never ever get where God's trying to get you to go. And so when the sisters start talking about walking in the right shoes and giving yourself, and I said, okay, Lord, that's a setup. Because my message is going to be about how you're too tired to go. And sometimes we don't even know we're tired. But we give ourselves, you get by yourself and you take that moment and you realize that you're worn out. Mentally, physically. You're on fire for God, but you're worn out. So if God gave you a mission, you couldn't even do it because you worried about everything else. And it was in those thoughts and in those words that I realized that everything that I thought I wasn't going to do, God was preparing me to do. So I got up and I started to talk to people. And and of course I didn't think I was doing anything because again, it wasn't huge and spectacular. And then the calls started coming from men who said, thank you so much for telling your story because it helped me save my marriage. I didn't know what my wife was going through. I didn't understand why she couldn't relate to me in a certain way. Or teenagers. I had a teenager come up to me and tell me that she was going to kill herself. And her father had given her a book that I'd written. And she thought she was the only one, and she couldn't tell anybody. And I said, well, thank you. And when she saw me, it scared me. Because I was at an event, and she just started screaming and crying in the middle of the floor. And I'm like, who's here? Who's here? And she ran up and she started hugging me, and she had joined the military. She'd become a youth advocate. And she changed her life because she realized that the things that she was carrying wasn't hers. We can't let people put things on us that's not ours. There's a lot of people I wish I had been smart enough to do more for, and then there's some I wish I hadn't done anything for. But I realized that you only know what you know at any given time. And a lot of times we look back and we hold hurt and we hold all against people. And I said, well, Lord, how can I forgive? And he said, well, if you only knew what you knew when you was messing up, they only knew what they knew when they were messing up. So if you can forgive yourself and realize it was a mistake, you got to look everybody else in the eye and give them that same thing. You have to. You have to. And when you learn to start seeing things through God's eyes, you don't judge. You know how we are as women. We say, ooh, new shoes. How you're critical and you can see a bum on the street and it doesn't mean anything to you. But when you start seeing people through God's eyes, you smile. Even at the bum because you know he has a story. You're like, how do you get to this point? And instead of not respecting where he is, you understand that there's something that brought him to that point. You can see the beauty in our elders. Because sometimes we look at our elders and we overlook them. And I like to get in their face, and I like to see the wrinkles and the creases because there's some story there. There's a life that's going on. And you can overlook all that. And so when you start seeing things through God's eyes, you realize that it's not the huge and spectacular that carries you through the day, but it's the small and the miraculous. And so when you go out and you go through your week and it looks like you're not getting any credit on your job, you say, whether they know that or not, that was small but miraculous. And that's where we got to resign. And I love everything that we do when we come together, but sometimes we come together to strengthen each other and we forget to do that. We don't relax, we don't let go of the outside world, because you got to have somewhere where you can let it go. You have to. And we're better than a women's conference when you're supposed to be, this is for me. I'm taking this time and this day for me. But you come in here with the weight of everybody you know on you. So you failed to do the one thing you got up this morning to do. And so I just want to remind you of that. And I want you to be, thankful that when you walk out the door, that moment that you took for yourself strengthens you to go and give moments to someone else. Because that's actually what we do. And I want you to start loving on your family. And I know you're tired, because Lord knows I've been tired. I made the mistake of putting my little sister out when she was 17. I did the same thing to her my grandmother did to me, because again, I only knew what I knew to do. And that's one of the things that just felt so bad about for a long time because she wasn't ready to be out there. But she thought she was. And because she thought she was, I wanted to show her she wasn't. And that's not how we operate. And so now I look at her and she's a single mom of 4. And she's doing all she can to keep things going. And I wonder if I hadn't been so tired, how could her life have been? And I just ask you, and I just beg you as women, to don't let yourself get so tired. Don't get so caught up that you're too tired to do the one job God has called you here to do. And I'm going to leave you with that because I know you want to leave here and feel good, but I need you to be restored. I need you to be restored.
Let's see, Sister Janice, Sullivan, amen. Great hand of praise. Isn't it just like God? He knows just how to do it. He broke us so he could restore us. We couldn't have received that in that manner until he had broken us through the worship. What a God. Everything's with purpose. He's so calculating. He's so calculating. It is just so purpose-filled. Everything that he does and how he does it, it all matters. At the end of the day, it all matters. I was just sitting there going, wow. Wow. Wow.